Welcome back to the Triple Play Fantasy YouTube channel, here where apparently I make the magic happen, as the other guy you see on screen apparently says that I do here. Kevin, aka the boys underscore 22, one of the best in the industry. How's it going, my friend?
Hey man, I'm doing good. It's not always we don't always get on a live video together or video together, so it's good when we can when our systems align. I'm over here in the West Coast, the only time zone that matters. So sometimes David's East Coast bias gets in his way.
East Coast bias. I think they call it the Beast Coast for a reason.
Ah,
But anyway, you guys clicked on this video because you saw a very catchy title here. We're talking about a position today that I think stresses fantasy owners out to no end, and that's tight ends, because you have a couple guys up top that you know every single week are going to give you what you paid for. But then the rest of it's pretty much just a crapshoot. You're just looking for the guy that gets in that little painted area every single week. And there's no reliable place right now that's getting you that information. So Kevin and I, we dug deep. We put our hard hats on and we tried to figure out who we think is going to get in that little box this week. And there's three guys that caught our eyes as far as who we think. And I know the title says that we guarantee it, but there's not many things you can guarantee in life. So let's just say Kevin and I both strongly think that they're going to find the end zone this week. And you're going to be very happy if you start these guys in your fantasy lineups during Buy-Mageddon in week 7 here. So the first guy you saw, I'll put him up again just because I love the graphic that I made for him. The cover boy, Zach Ertz, who, surprise, surprise, going to the Arizona Cardinals. And he's going to probably be featured right off the bat here.
yeah.
You expect to step in for Max Williams, who was receiving a 10% target share and had 17 overall targets on the year so far this year. If you look, he did obviously get looks in the red zone from Kyler Murray, and he's going against right now the Houston Texans, who through 6 weeks of this season have given up tied for the second most amount of points per game to tight ends at 18.7 fantasy points per game. They've also given up 5 touchdowns, which is tied for the league high as far as touchdowns allowed to the position. They've also given up 4 touchdowns over their last 3 games. So this is basically a defense that's ripe for the picking. The Cardinals, who are right now 17-point favorites, they're going to put up points in this game. I know the Cardinals have a lot of different options, but you would expect that they're going to make sure that their new shiny toy, Zach Ertz, is going to be involved in his first game and is going to probably score. And again, he's the guy that I think, more so than anyone we'd probably talk about this video, that I think I have confidence getting in the end zone. Kev, do you agree?
Yeah, he's playing Houston, right? They're terrible. That's my analysis. You're playing Houston. They're not good. I guess the only thing that you'd have to worry about is the game script getting kind of weird if they do put up a lot of points. But I think they do. It's one of those games, the revenge games for a lot of guys on the Arizona Cardinals team. And this is the best tight end that Arizona's had. Dan Arnold, yeah, okay. Max Williams, like with Kyler Murray, those guys there, I think they're going to get him involved, especially right after the trade. And I could see him scoring a touchdown. And I'm streaming him in a lot of places as well.
Perfect. And let's go from one handsome tight end to another one that was kind of talked about in the offseason as a big breakout. And it looks like he's having the entire job to himself this week. Who is that, Kev?
Yeah, Cole Kmet from the Chicago Bears. I like this pick. Up until the last few weeks, he hasn't had a great season, but he had a 20% target share against the Packers, and he had 4 of his 5 targets. He had for 49 yards. He had 4 receptions there. I like him. I think that, when you look at the Bucs, they have surrendered 4 touchdowns to tight ends over the last 4 games. They give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. So they're going to use him, Cole, in the red zone. You've seen that. I think they're going to have to throw it a lot, especially with the injuries at the running backs. I know Herbert looked good last week, but it's the Bucs, and we're going to kind of see a different game script this week. So I think Cole Kmet's going to get an end zone. I could see him doing that. Now, he's a touchdown dependent option right now, but a lot of guys after tight end 9 are. So I would take a shot on him playing the defense that he's playing, what they've given up to tight ends in the past, and just because of game script.
Yeah, Kevin brought up some very important points. The Tampa Bay Bucks, we know they're incredibly stingy against the run. They've only given up 1 rushing touchdown this season. They rank in the bottom 10 as far as the points allowed for running backs per game. They've only given up barely over 20 points per game in total to running backs. And you look conversely against the tight end position, obviously they're kind of a pass funnel through the air because their secondary is just incredibly beat up. And they rank 8th as far as most points allowed. They're 8th with 16.5 points per game allowed to tight ends right now, and 4 touchdowns, which is also tied for second to the tight ends this year. I think that's a great call from there. Let's finish this one out. This one's going to be a little bit more of, if you have a dartboard, we're throwing a dart. This is a dart throw. This one's a little deeper. We're digging deep here. And the guy known as CJ Uzomah, who many saw on Thursday Night Football win people $1 million, who had 2 touchdowns, kind of burst on the scene. Throughout his career, he's very much been relevant for, a month or 2 stretch, and then it's completely gone and disappeared. And we expect that pretty much from season after season. But this is one of the weeks I think he actually helps benefit your fantasy team here. He's going against the Baltimore Ravens, which right now actually have given the most targets to tight ends so far this season. 64 targets, which is actually 7 more than the next closest team. They also have allowed the second most points per game allowed to tight ends, and they also are giving up 4 touchdowns, which is, again, tied for the second most amount of touchdowns to tight ends. I think you look at the Ravens, who have a lot of great corners, and they're going to match up well. Marlon Humphrey's going to obviously go with Jamar Chase, and then they've also are going to be focusing on T. Higgins on the outside as well. I think that allows really well for Tyler Boyd and for CJ Uzomah, that are going to be playing more in the middle of the field, to be able to do a lot better towards the interior of the Ravens defense, which you also know has Patrick Queen in the middle. And Patrick Queen is one of the 5 worst covering linebackers this year, according to PFF. So that's going to be great for CJ Uzomah. I think he's going to eat in the middle of the field, and he's going to be a great tight end that I think also gets into the end zone. So, Kev, I think those are 3 slam dunks at the position. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb and say, yeah, I think those 3 guys get an end zone this weekend. And especially this tight end position, like you mentioned when we talked about it, it's barren after the top 5. And even in the top, even the 4 or 5 guys, you got to really struggle with. And even Waller's really struggling right now. So, like, when you're looking at who you're going to put in there, you're looking for touchdowns. And each one of these guys with game scripts and just how it's going to work out, I think gives you a chance to have that touchdown. And you can just safely go by, especially in this week. These buys are brutal out here in these streets and fantasy streets. So if you can get a touchdown from one of these guys, then that's just golden.
In the fantasy streets.
Fantasy streets. Hard knocks out here.
I love it. Well, good luck to everybody that's playing in week 7 with Mageddon. If you like the video and you want to see more of these guaranteed touchdown calls from us each week, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you leave a comment. I don't care. You can leave an eggplant emoji. You could leave a thumbs up emoji to my takes and a thumbs down emoji to Kevin's as a comment, not as one of the buttons in the video. But let us know how we're doing. Let us know if you like the content and you want more stuff like this in the future. And until next time, guys, we'll talk to you in